A bitch got a job. I'm not gonna be poor because I think that is why I was also stressing out. Y'all know I'm a bougie queen, and I like a certain lifestyle and I have to maintain it, not only for me but for Skipper. You know, he's used to a certain lifestyle as well. I got to maintain it for the both of us. Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Nyla Imani. Now it's my first name, Imani is my middle name. I like the combination together, so yes. Thank you for coming to my channel, watching a video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We are doing a life update today, so I have my phone here, and I took some notes down, like to make like a little outline of how I want this video to go. So yeah, so I got a job. Maybe I'll input some clapping sound effects when I go back and edit this. As of 2 weeks ago now, almost 2.5 weeks ago, as I'm recording this, I got a job after about 6 months of job applications and interviews. And so I kind of want to talk about how I got a job, about what, a month and a half-ish after graduating from grad school, what my process was like when I started looking for jobs, what I was specifically looking for, agencies and or companies that I was interested in and that I was applying to, locations I wanted to move to, resumes, cover letters. And then after I talk about my job hunting process, I want to go into like some lessons learned throughout this whole thing. And then the last section of this video is going to be, where am I moving to? If you are a close friend or you follow me on LinkedIn, you already know where I'm moving, but I didn't say where I was moving on Instagram or Twitter when I announced that I finally got a job. So stay tuned. So let's get into it. I'm just getting comfortable here. We're getting comfy. This side of my hair did not want to really cooperate when I was curling it, and I don't know why, but this is where we are. And so yeah, okay, when did I start looking for a job? So I would say that I started job hunting in December of 2020, but I started taking it seriously in January of this year. So I'll back up a little bit. My resume needed to be tweaked so it could reflect the experiences both through like actual work, my practicum, and my capstone, to make sure all of that, as well as some important projects that I've done as a grad student, I needed to make sure that that was reflected in my resume and that it looked good and it communicated the information that I needed it to communicate. So I, throughout this process, have gotten my resume looked over quite a few times. I initially started in November with career services through my grad program, and then I also had like my dad look over it, and then later on down the line I had some actual public health professionals who hire people for their teams like look over it to make sure that it had the information that it needed, it was formatted well, and it essentially was a strong indicator of who I was as a person, as a candidate, and what I can bring to a team. So yes, the first step for me was the resume, but although I've had it tweaked along the way, I felt it was good enough for me to really start applying to jobs in January. So that was when I, like I said, sorry, Skipper's hair somehow got on my lip. That's when I really like started to take it seriously. What was I looking for, slash what agencies or companies was I, how the hell did his hair get on my lip? Anyways, what was I looking for, slash what agencies or companies did I apply to? So if you watched my previous chit chat video that I did when I graduated from grad school, and also if you follow me, I still feel, there we go, I got the hair off, or if you follow me on social media, you know that I got my master's degree in public health with a concentration in health equity, social justice, and human rights. What I personally care about is addressing racial and ethnic disparities, especially as it pertains to the Black community. So when I was job searching, I was very much looking for health equity, health disparities focused jobs, and if it could have an emphasis on race or racism, then that was like a bonus for me. At the time of applying to jobs, and also I think like when I started grad school, I kind of had an idea of what company I wanted to work for. I wanted to work for the federal government. I wanted to work for the CDC, and not saying that that can't happen down the line, because that is not where I will be working. We'll get into that later. But that was like my main focus at the time. But I was also looking at other federal agencies, taking a look at state health departments and local health departments. And then through my job searching, whether it was on like I was using Google or Indeed or LinkedIn, I was also just looking at other companies. I was looking at academic institutions. So I was trying to not solely focus on just the CDC and like broaden my scope in terms of the companies and agencies that I was looking for or looking for jobs at. So yes, initially I was looking at health equity focused positions. At the time, I was heavily considering moving to Atlanta. That was like my #1 choice for places that I wanted to live. Other places that I was considering was like Houston, Dallas, DC, or possibly staying in North Carolina, either like in Durham, Raleigh, or Charlotte, if the right opportunity, you know, presented itself. But Atlanta was definitely my #1 choice in terms of locations, and then that kind of intensified after me and Danielle made a trip to Atlanta in April. If you haven't watched that vlog, I will link it above. Here is where I think the journey really begins. I keep feeling a fucking hair from this dog on my mouth. Okay. Here is where the journey like really begins. So, like I was saying before, I was initially looking for health equity focused positions, but then when I either wasn't finding them through using different terminology in the search engines and things like that, or through LinkedIn, Indeed, Facebook groups that I was a part of, if I couldn't find them there, or if I did find them but they weren't paying enough, it was kind of discouraging me, which is why I started broadening out the types of public health positions that I was applying to. And then at one point in time, I felt like maybe I am asking for too much money and maybe I need to lower my salary expectations. And I did that temporarily, and then I had like a little awakening, maybe like a few weeks after graduation, and I was like, absolutely not. Like, I'm going to ask for what I know that I am worth and what I deserve based on my experience and the skills and expertise and things that I can bring. I did interviews for 4 different companies, but I did 6 interviews in total. So I did 2 for the first company, I did 1 for the second company, there was only 1 round. I did 1 for the third company, there was only 1 round, and then I did 2 for this last company, which is the company I actually got hired for. So yes, that was kind of essentially my job hunting experience, like journey. So this leads heavily into the lessons learned. Stick by your salary requirements. Do not take something that just because you're desperate, because that was definitely the point that I was getting to during this whole job application process. I low-key think that I was becoming depressed. I was starting to become like a little depressed because I thought that I would have a job like immediately after graduation, and then like I said before, I was contemplating like, am I asking for too much money? Do I need to lower it? And like I said, eventually I came to a revelation. I was like, no, we're not lowering shit. You're going to ask for what you want because it's what you deserve. The second lesson I learned through this was apply to jobs you are passionate about / that align with your interests. So again, I wanted health equity focused jobs, and if it can have an emphasis on race and racism, that was even better. But again, initially I wasn't really finding them, and the ones I did find, they weren't paying well enough, which caused me to approach job searching very differently. But in hindsight, I believe everything happens for a reason. I think I interviewed fairly well for the interviews that I had, but I could tell that in the last 2 interviews that I had for the company that I got hired for, I know that those interviews went extremely well because I was actually very passionate about the role and the description and the work that I would be doing, because it is literally up my alley and it aligns very heavily with what I was looking for and what I've been wanting to do and what I went to school for in the first place. So I could tell that I was a lot more confident in my interviews, and like, I don't know, it went very differently compared to my other ones, and I think it was because I was actually passionate about them. And so I think you should apply to jobs that you are actually passionate about and that align with your ideals and your interests, because if they don't, I think that one, that can reflect in the interviews, but 2, you're just going to be applying to jobs for the sake of applying. Third lesson, be open to new experiences and new places. Like I mentioned earlier, I had my heart set on moving to Atlanta. I'm not moving there. We can clear that up right now. I'm not moving there. I'm actually not moving to any of the places that I had on my list of moving. I'm actually moving somewhere that I did not necessarily intend on moving to, but when I applied to the job, it was literally up my alley and aligned very heavily with what I care about and what I went to school for, which is why I was open to applying to the job. But I do think that you have to be open to new experiences and new places, especially because I'm still young. I'm 26, got 4 years till dirty 30. I'm a single individual. I have no one to really worry about except myself. Like, that sounds a little selfish. Like, obviously I care about my parents and my family and stuff, but what I'm saying is, like, I don't have a family of my own. Like, I'm a single individual, so what I want and what I care about and what is best for me and what I personally want to do is always going to come first. So yeah, be open. That was something that I had to accept, especially when I wasn't getting as many interviews as I thought I would get from applying to jobs. In Atlanta, I was like, you might have to broaden your horizon in terms of where you're applying to. And then the last lesson learned, everything happens for a reason. Everything's gonna happen when God or the universe says it's gonna happen. You still gotta put in the work, obviously. Like, for those that believe in like manifestation, prayer, feel like they're one and the same. Faith without works is dead. You gotta put in the work, but it's ultimately going to happen when it's supposed to happen. And it may not be in the way that you expected. So for me, it's not the place that I initially thought I was gonna move to. But is the job what I wanted? Yes. Is the salary what I wanted? Yes. So everything happens for a reason, and it's gonna happen how it's supposed to happen when it's supposed to happen, and that's just that. So now we're gonna get to the last part of this video, which is where I'm moving. I was trying to debate, was I gonna tell y'all in this video or if I was going to tell you in like my first moving vlog. I'm not gonna tell you, so you're gonna have to stay tuned for my first moving vlog. That's where I will tell you where I'm moving to, but I will tell you that I am moving up north and that I was hired as a health equity engagement manager, which means I am responsible for overseeing community outreach and community engagement among Black and Brown communities. I'm also helping with other racial justice initiatives, and then helping to expand the city that I'm moving to, expand their public health capacity with respect to addressing racism as a public health crisis. If you follow me on LinkedIn, You already know where I'm moving to, like I said at the beginning of this video, or if you're a close friend or family, you already know where I'm moving. If you do know, do not comment it under this video, please. It's been kind of a crazy like 6 months, like doing this whole job hunting process and doing interviews and getting my resume looked over and editing it 5 million times, writing cover letters for those few jobs that I felt were important enough to do it for, trying to network. That is something else that is really important. Fun fact, I actually found my job through this public health group that I'm a part of on Facebook. I don't use Facebook, but I have it for the purpose of some of these like networking groups, and it's a Black Ladies in Public Health group. I actually found the job through there because someone posted it, and then I applied to it a few days after graduation. I graduated on the 14th and 15th. I applied to that of May. I applied to that job on May 18th. I got an email for an interview, the first interview, on June 1st, but I somehow opened but missed, like I didn't read the email, but it was marked as read in my Gmail account. And so I ended up getting a call on June 10th from the HR manager trying to schedule an interview. I scheduled the interview. I had my first interview a few days after that call, and then about a few days after that, they called me and emailed me again for a second interview. And then I had that second interview a few days after that call. And then they were supposed to let me know the following week whether or not I got the job. They actually called me the day after my second interview to tell me that I got the job. I signed the offer letter the day after because that's when I got it. And then I had been looking at apartments for about the past 2 weeks now, and I just got approved, signed my lease. So everything is like a done deal. I start my job remotely at the end of this month until I officially move. And yeah, that is where we are. So that is kind of my my job hunting journey and my road to being employed about a month and a half-ish after, you know, graduating from grad school. So I hope that this video was, you know, informative and helpful to anyone who either just graduated from undergrad or just graduated from grad school who's like looking for a job, especially if you're in the public health field, or maybe this is just helpful to you like in general if you're not in school but you're job hunting right now. I hope that this helps somebody, because that's why I made the video, not only to share with people who watch me, but like in case it happens to come across someone else's feed who's not subscribed to me, but is interested in this certain content, and maybe they're going through this certain period or stage in their life right now, and this video could be helpful to them. So with that being said, that is the end of this life update. A bitch got a job. I'm not gonna be poor because I think that is why I was also stressing out. Y'all know I'm a bougie queen, and I like a certain lifestyle and I have to maintain it. Not only for me, but for Skipper. You know, he's used to a certain lifestyle as well. I gotta maintain it for the both of us. So yeah, a bitch is not poor. A bitch is hired. She starts later this month, and you know, life's great right now. So yeah, that's the end of my life update. I want to thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, per usual, do not think you're leaving here. Let's point in the other direction because I think this is where I'm going to put the videos. Do not think you're leaving here without watching another one of my videos, because you will. Tell your friends, come subscribe, come join the family. Also hit the bell notification so you can be notified every time I post a new video. And I will see y'all in the next one.